Blizzard killed the fun police and then broke WoW. Oh no. Okay, well look, Blizzard killing the fun police, I don't disagree with. They've been letting people completely go off on all kinds of shit. First off, they've been listening to feedback. Big time. Blizzard's been hyper reactionary to feedback. It's been good to see. That's why I actually think Midnight is probably going to be a good expansion. And then secondarily, I keep thinking like Blizzard's going to put some type of limitation on player housing and what people can do in it. They haven't, man. Like flying houses and giant mechazords and all that. People have been building all kinds of shit in player housing, and Blizzard just letting people go off. It's been pretty cool to see. Let's see what Bellular has to say about how Blizzard has killed the fun police.
Now that patch 11.27 has had some time to breathe, I can say something refreshing that I've not been able to say many times.
Bellular got a haircut. Oh my god. Bellular got the zero fade on the sides. Look at that. Wow, he's going edgy now. He's the edgelord Bellular. We got the new lore here. Okay.
The war
and the leather jacket. Oh man. What happened with Bellular? Who broke Bellular's heart?
Then it's better than anyone could have expected, except for a few ways it's secretly a little bit worse. If you're busy with housing, it may feel like literally the smoothest patch launch we've seen this expansion. But if you're looking at anything else, it's a little bit of a different story. There is a lot to go through in today's news, so I'll start.
Look, overall, I feel like, and I said this already, I feel like this patch, first off, the launch of the patch, this is probably, I mean, I guess it took them a while to get it right, but of the entire expansion, smoothest patch launch we've had. The patch launch, while you know there's a bug here or there, overall, it really wasn't broken. Like this thing, which is like a crazy thing to say, like, oh my god, congratulations, Blizzard, you launched a patch that wasn't broken. That shouldn't be like an achievement, but it is. Because we've had so many bad patch launches recently. This one was pretty good. So I was like, yeah, good job, Blizzard. Yeah, you guys got it right, I guess. And the features, even if you're not a player housing, Andy, yes, you just had really a short quest line to do for the story. You had some lore walking stuff to do. But overall, I feel like it's been a pretty fun patch. You got the turbulent time waves going on. It's really just the closing of the expansion until pre-patch hits. But I think it's been pretty fun. And it's been running smoothly. That's the most important thing.
Start with the freshest first, and that is
except your door keeps disappearing.
Legion
Oh no!
Finale. Now, speaking pro gamer to pro gamer, do you know what tells me? Dying behind cover, missing an interrupt, things like that, where your client shows that you're safe, but clearly the server disagrees. Perhaps because your packets took the scenic route. And if routing is the problem, today's sponsor Exit Lag can help you out. You see, ISPs choose internet paths based on policy and cost, not on gaming latency, so you don't always get the fastest route. What Exit Lag does is it actively maps multiple paths to game servers, and it routes your traffic over the best ones in real time. Now, obviously, it's not magic. It won't fix bad Wi-Fi, overloaded servers, or massive amounts of distance. But where routing is the bottleneck, the difference is real. And this can benefit you most.
This doesn't have so much to do with exit lag, but have you guys seen the fact that like VPNs might become illegal? You guys seen that shit? Any Australians in the chat who like are, what is it, age, is it 16 that Twitch is going to have to ban you if you're not, like, you don't confirm that you're 16 or older? Because they're doing some like age recognition shit over there now, and the EU is going to start doing that shit. And trust me, it's going to eventually come to the US too. Like we're sitting in the US, sitting pretty, thinking we're fine with internet identification. That shit's coming our way, believe me. And once it does, like what's going to happen with VPN servers? Like I know I'm getting off topic. I'm just saying this shit's coming. It's coming, guys. So be ready for it.
Situations sound familiar. Your ping is fine during off-peak times, but spikes at peak times. Or you're far away from your server region, or you've got weak ISP peering. Perhaps you see
Australians going to have to verify their age to watch Twitch. You gotta be careful with that one.
In desync that ruins things like saying
under 16 will be banned from social media.
They support over 3,000 games and apps, and the setup is really simple.
Look, in my opinion, again, this has nothing to do with the video, but if you're under 16, you shouldn't be on social media anyways. Like, come on, what are you doing? No, go do some other, go play outside or something, kid. You know, you don't have to be on social media if you're under 16. But this shit's coming. It's coming.
You pick your game, choose a route, then you test. There's a 3-day free trial on desktop with no card, so it's genuinely no risk. So you can try it during your peak hours and then keep it if you see a measurable improvement. And here's the best bit. My offer is 50% off an annual plan, so that's 12 months for the price of 6. Just scan the code or use my link, which is down in the description. So then, the secret of a mysterious infinite echoes. Until it launched this week, we had no idea what it was going to be. We knew there'd be catch-up, but that was about it. Data mining did find a single achievement. Cloudy with a chance of infernals.
Ooh.
That sounds like demons raining from the sky. And back in the Wowcast and Remix, Blizzard compared it to how the final days of a beta used to go. Pure chaos just for its own sake. And within Remix, the NPCs themselves spent the whole event backing that up. All the Infinite Dragons were speaking of how the timeline was unraveling and becoming unpredictable. That all seems like a perfect excuse for chaos. So with that, and a lot of data mined appearances still being missing, we all started to build the one thing Blizzard should be afraid of: expectations. In the absence of info, we started to have ideas about what Infinite Echoes could be. Maybe we'd get massive invasions all across the Isles. You know, infernals, meatballs. Maybe it would be a huge bronze windfall so that latecomers could catch up over the holidays. Hell, maybe other timelines could bleed across. I mean,
Maybe
it's
it is, because it is
playground mode with infinite possibilities. Well, the phase is out now, and we finally know what Blizzard have been cooking. The Infernals did actually show up. Lost Legion Infernals are rapidly respawning repeatable world bosses scattered across the Isles, accompanied by far too many demons. Knocking them over awards a decent chunk of basically everything you could want. On the story side, short new quests exist to say goodbye to all of our Infinite Dragon friends. And on the gear front, well, getting strong is getting a whole lot faster with flawless threads of time.
Nice.
Instead of the moats that nudged you up 3 eye levels at a time, these threads give you far larger eye level jumps.
Yeah, Blizzard doing a good job with this closing out of the Remix event. Even better than Mop Remix. You're just getting infinitely overpowered. And yes, that was how Mop ended, but they're like helping you even more become overpowered in Legion Remix as it closes out. So this is good. I really like how they're closing it all out. Kids have already gotten around it. Yeah, kids will get around it. Of course. I mean, come on. How many of us when we were kids, you know, you're going on the naughty sites, right? And they're asking for age verification. And of course, you put in a fake age because, you know, you're not 18, and also you don't go to the exact date, right? You got to go back a couple more years, so it's not obvious, right? Because you don't want the police to come get you. That's what you used to think when you were a kid. You don't want the police to come knock on the door because you lied about your age and they found out because you clicked the exact date. No, it's fine. Kids will get around it, but shit, I mean, people going to buy drugs in the streets too. Doesn't mean drugs shouldn't be illegal. It's just, it is what it is.
And they come from scrapping gear.
You make the rule,
people
get around it.
Things
It's
up
all right.
immensely. Infinite power gains have also been substantially buffed, and together these make getting ready to blitz Mythic and Taurus a hell of a lot faster. And on top of it all, XP gains have been buffed significantly. By finishing Infinite Research, you stack 3% extra XP per quest up to 30%. So you get faster power and you get faster leveling, which does feel like the last day of school, like Remix is supposed to. There's just one little problem. It seems that's not what a lot of people have wanted. Basically, here's the deal. To a lot of people, Legion Remix is a collectathon. And to actually collect everything from this event, you would need to farm 6.5 million bronze. That's a lot of bronze. And if you've been playing regularly this whole time, you're probably well in your way. If not, it probably feels hopeless. Not unless you want to run every raid every day.
Banshee Devil.
I mean, literally, you're probably out of luck if you're not able to just go complete no life into this, because there's, well, 40 or fewer days left. And this is all in a mode where we are basically one-shotting everything effortlessly, which does kind of mean that more power doesn't change many people's reality. Just the raw playtime of farming bronze is kind of the killer here. And now that people are making that very well known across the internet, hopefully Blizzard can throw in a little hotfix to keep everyone basically happy.
If the recent history says anything, it says that they are going to do a hotfix to do this. I feel like they've been reacting to every single thing people say, especially when enough voices get behind a cause. And yeah, a lot of people, I guess, are pissed off about not getting enough bronze to finish out the event. Blizzard's going to buff the amount of bronze that drops, for sure.
And there is an easy answer to this problem. Stick a 5 or 10 times multiplier on bronze, and people
easy
will
fix
just,
for them. They'll do it.
remember Legion Remix rather fondly. Now, you could argue that in doing that, they would devalue everyone's playtime so far. But here's the thing, perhaps. Blizzard are happy to do that with gear and infinite power. They're happy to do that with seasonal resets every patch, even with Turbo Boost. As far as I can tell, there's no reason not to stick a 0 in the end of bronze. Hell, they could even use this to create a little miniature hype cycle, even if a few people would ultimately be a little bit disappointed by the lack of chaos. Well, So far anyway, because that chaos could be coming. Maybe they still have plans. All we know is the achievement for logging in during the end has not popped, which does suggest something else is going to come. As does the vortex above Dalaran. It's a little bit scary looking.
Oh,
But it's actually
I didn't know
not
that's
as
there.
scary as what's been happening outside of Remix. I was perfectly happy doing housing things.
There's a vortex above Dalaran? I haven't even looked up. Shit. Okay. That probably means there is going to be some sort of invasion event towards the very, very end.
Turns out other stuff's going on, though. Blizzard's new player experience is supposed to solve a pretty big problem, and that is getting people to stay
All you had to do was
in
look
World
up.
of
Yeah, I
Warcraft.
didn't do
Now,
that.
naturally, a feature launch as massive as housing is really quite perfect for the game. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get people back trying WoW, or even just coming back to the game. So, pairing up the new player experience changes with that in one patch makes a whole bunch of sense.
Yeah, it
and to
does.
get down to the details, Blizzard did a whole bunch of major and minor changes to leveling.
I'll be honest though, like the one thing that I kind of don't like that Blizzard did, I guess, was requiring the pre-order. Now the good thing is, like, okay, you can pre-order any version of it. At least you don't have to pre-order the Epic version of it to be able to get access to housing. But I feel like people who didn't pre-order Midnight, housing is just like it's not there for them right now. Like this patch is nothing. So, and I feel like maybe if they would have seen housing, there's potential that they would have pre-ordered the expansion. I feel like it shouldn't have been barrier blocked by the expansion pre-order. They should have just made housing available to everybody, and then a lot of people would have tried it and been like, actually, this thing's way cooler than I thought. I'm pre-ordering Midnight. And it probably would have gotten a lot more pre-orders. And I guess accounting just wanted to lock it up behind a pre-order, but I feel like it should have been something that's just available to everybody, regardless of your order status of the expansion.
One of them was reducing the amount of XP needed
Even though it's technically a
from level
midnight
70 to
feature.
level 80 by 80%. It's blazingly fast. It's almost hard to believe as you level up now. But there's a few other things. Most notable for today, the Arathi returning player tutorial and the War Within recap. On paper, they're pretty good changes. Basically, through asset reuse and clever editing, there are a lot of wins in the table here. But, translating that into reality has been interesting. Okay, this is a doozy. Now, we recently covered our experience on the release candidate, PTR, a little bit ago on the channel, but we wanted to check in now that it's actually out in the wild. And as it turns out, it's got worse. It is actually worse in the live servers than it was in the test realms,
Whoa.
and Blizzard have said nothing. This is real weird. Now, there are 143 posts on this thread in the
Blizzard
forums,
L?
and most of them are people saying they've had the same singular issue. Merrick's isn't spawning, so because of that, they can't continue. This was happening.
Wait,
as
what?
of a
What is
week
this?
ago.
What is this part of? Whoa, is this part of the lore walking quest? Best food. What quest is broken? Because you guys remember I did the lore walking quest line and I couldn't finish. Oh, I think this is part of the intro campaign. Okay, never mind.
And there's been
I
zero
couldn't finish the
Blizzard
lore
response.
walking quest line.
Not even a simple acknowledgement of the bug, just radio silence. And Merrick's isn't just some little
It's the new
nobody.
intro campaign,
Like,
yeah.
This is literally breaks War Within recap. One of the major things
That's a problem.
is non-functioning right now.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's quite disappointing. But hey, it's just one part of the patch. Surely everything else is working, right? Turns out, wrong. So, the War Within is not the only thing proving impossible. There are now multiple reports of people trying the new Dragonflight completion experience, only to find different issues to the ones that we reported. In one instance,
I think I
they
saw
have
ya-
no NPC option.
I think I saw that Razageth wasn't spawning or something. She's like, bitch, you ain't gonna kill me because I'm not gonna show up.
To do story mode, and whatever it is has actually broken Aberrus outright. Not just in story mode, but
Oh,
on
no.
every difficulty. So clearly, whatever scripts are supposed to run just ain't running.
Oh, no.
And in some other cases, players are finding scaling issues because, well, they're doing the campaign out of order, and it seems that doesn't really work that well. Basically seems Blizzard didn't consider the side effects of extending Dragonflight. You see, mobs and patch zones now scale to level 80, so if you just want to clean up old patch content for achievements, don't do that right now, because rare
This is,
elites at
yeah,
level
broken.
82 are kinda just a nightmare. We thought this would be a new player experience thing. No, it turns out you can't go back to the Dragon Isles and just slaughter stuff in your main, which does seem like a bit of an unintended consequence. Now, you might think these things being a bit buggy would make sense, because it's all part of the same new player experience. Well, it's not the only thing. in the most bizarre of cases, characters are actually being treated as if they're members of the opposite faction. And apparently it happens if they leave the new lore walking campaign at just the right time.
What?
If they do that, they will have their faction status be completely flipped until they go back and complete the quest.
Oh my god.
Now, naturally, that kind of leaves their character entirely unplayable. Well, not entirely unplayable.
I wonder if you go back to a hub city of the faction you're supposed to be on if you get killed then. That's funny.
Because one enterprising individual was able to exploit this to get a Horde house on an Alliance character.
Oh my god.
So, is there a takeaway from all of this? Yes, there is a takeaway. You may not like it. I think we may just have to get used to WoW being broken for a week or two with every new patch. Honestly, I was so ready to just say, hey, oh my god, look at this. They've done it. It works.
I'll still say they've done it. I still think the patch was very much playable and fun, and it was not, I guess, like we've seen patches. What the hell was the one where we had like the Lights Dawn guys or whatever that we had to fight in Hallowfall? That was broken. Like completely uncompletable by anybody. Everyone was just sitting there with a broken-ass quest line where bosses wouldn't spawn. The whole thing, you kill them, they doesn't count. It was completely, that's what I call a broken patch. This one where you have like nuanced shit where if you don't do the quests in order correctly in the Dragonflight campaign, it breaks a little bit. That kind of shit I wouldn't say is as bad. For the most part, this patch launched, in a playable state. That was a good thing. Now, shouldn't that be an expectation? Yeah, it should be, of course. That shouldn't be an achievement. But considering the last couple patches we've had, I would say, yeah, it's an achievement.
Brilliant. It's amazing. It just turns out the things outside of housing didn't really make it live in full working order. And there are different ways of framing this.
You
could say that throughout all of this expansion, Blizzard have made it clear they won't delay a patch in order to solve issues ahead of time. They won't delay a patch to ensure that it will release without bugs. No, they just won't do that. Their strategy is to release whatever they have whenever it's ready and just do their best to fix it whenever you report the bugs live. Sometimes the same reports that you would have filed on the PTR, which is quite frustrating. Now, some of this is natural in a game that's this big and this old.
Yeah, they're never going to find every single issue. If they wait to find every single issue, we're going to have patches that last 6, 7, 8 months. We're going to get one patch per year. Because they're just going to be so afraid to release something with a random bug that a piece of shoulders doesn't transmog properly. It'll be fine. I think releasing the patch in the state that Hallowfall one released in that I talked about, I forgot which one it was. It was like 11.1 point something. That's not acceptable. But this patch, I think, was released in a state that was acceptable. It's fine.
Edge cases will crop up, and all devs can sometimes do is play whack-a-mole. Especially when, while they're playing
They'll
whack-a-mole,
never find everything.
They've got their task list for the intended work they have to do next. But when it's at least one major feature with every patch, it does stop being excusable. I do love move fast and break things energy at times. The thing is, it's not supposed to be a permanent philosophy. For now, though, it does seem the Blizzard are treating it as such. That is what I would have said if there wasn't an example of Blizzard doing the complete opposite thing to incredible success, and even
housing is great.
Getting ahead of themselves on being the fun place.
And by the way, I say housing is great, and I didn't request this feature, never asked for it, didn't want it, wasn't super excited when they announced it, but I've dabbled in it, and I've done it, and it's great. It is. I don't know. I've never played housing in any other game, but I will say, like, for what it delivers. If you want a housing simulator and you want it in the WoW art style, they did it, man. They did it. WoW housing is fantastic in every single way. The UI, the way you put shit down, the way you change shit up, the way you do stuff, it's very, very good, and it's very well built. It is.
Player housing. Now that it's in early access, everyone's got their hands on it, and as you may have seen, people are kind of loving it. This has clearly been a massive success, and Blizzard obviously put tons of time into perfecting it. By now, you probably know, though, that there is a but
That's great.
Coming in. Now that players have had their hands on it, there is some criticism that's coming in hot. Basically, there are minor issues everywhere, things from misaligned textures to exorbitant decor costs, which are fairly real problems. But in this case, I don't think that's a problem, and let me explain in the form of an example, and it's a really cool one. players found some undocumented keybinds in the housing editor. Specifically, they found a way to move your house physically into the air. It would just stay there. People figured out how to make their houses fly, and right away made a ton of crazy concepts. Things like jump puzzles to get to the entrance. I've seen a Galagio tank, mage-themed houses that are just floating up in the air.
And you know what? I'm very happy Blizzard hasn't changed that. Because people have built such cool shit. Like, they usually... I feel like old Blizzard would have went in and changed this back and said, you can't take your house off the ground, and retroactively brought everyone back down. But I feel like the way they are now, they're like, players have built some cool shit. What's wrong with it if their house is off the ground? They're building really cool platforms in the sky, doing all kinds of stuff. Yeah, let them do it. Let them do it. Why not? It's WoW. There's magic everywhere. Why can't your house be floating?
It looks absolutely amazing, and it's no surprise these things were posted over on the housing forum.
They have been receptive
It turns out the housing
feedback,
team noticed this, and rather than removing the functionality, they've decided to let us roll with it.
Yeah, run it.
So,
Freaking amazing shit people are
what they were initially thinking
doing.
of is, oh, oops, a bunch of unintended commands have slipped into the live build. Players are doing a thing we didn't really design the system for. But then they thought, hang on a second. It does appear they're having fun. And then they did something shocking. They're leaving it in. It's really nice. So what they've done is they've posted a little warning about models not having a textured underside. But other than that, yeah, this is fine, and they are in full support of the creativity that it opens up.
This is a great win.
As if that wasn't enough of a win, they've actually addressed feedback directly. So they are going to be making official, proper keybinds and UI for making our houses float. But another one of the biggest complaints over the past week has been the exterior decor limits. The original limit of 200 was a bit too slow for most of us
Yep, they
to make a
raised it.
satisfying garden. Now, as it turns out, the reason why that limit was so low is basically performance concerns, because neighborhoods would have loads of houses with loads of exterior decor. But with
I've
it
seen
now
people
being
do
live
crazy
and them
shit.
having real performance data, that's, of course, consumer PCs, yes, but it's also their own servers. Now that they've got all of that, they've realized they can just give us more resources, so that limit has been up to 250. And in the same post, they even used two rather fitting quotes from different Pixar movies. This is extremely unlike Blizzard in a lot of ways, and I think it kind of tells the story of why housing itself is a massive win.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the system and the feature, it's the overall approach, right?
It's the freedom. They're just letting players do things. Like, you're not afraid to do anything in housing ultra creative because you're worried Blizzard's going to come back and knock it all down because you weren't supposed to do that. It just feels like try to break things almost. Do the most creative and craziest shit you can think of. Because if you do, it's going to stay there. Blizzard's letting you, literally. If you can do it, then you're allowed to do it. That's how it's working right now in housing, and players are loving it.
As far as we know, the player housing team had a lot of time to get this right. Basically, the story goes, they set out to make the best housing in any MMO, and they were actually given the budget and the time to make that happen. And not just a few patch cycles of time, like literally multiple years. I've seen reports of a total of...
Look, I would love this to just be a feel-good story. The reason why they were given the time and the budget and to make something amazing, which they have done, is because player housing is going to make Blizzard so much damn money. And this was like an easy presentation for the C-suite. Like, here's our plan. This is why we should bring player housing into the game. People are going to love it. And look at all this fucking money you can make. They're going to make a shit ton of money. People are going to buy the shit out of these items off the WoW store. And then you got this Hearthsteel garbage or Hearthsteel garbage. It's people are going to use that too. And as much as people bitch and complain about it, those are minority. The majority, I'm telling you guys, of people are going to buy the currency and they're going to buy the housing items. Because there's a lot of people, this is all they're going to do in WoW.
5 years having went into this project. Obviously not all of that would have been full production, but it's markedly different from how a lot of World of Warcraft features have been developed. And I think the impact is kind of huge here. And it's clearly bled into their official attitude. Because they could have been defensive and turned off those controls, right? They could have thought, oh damn, we were shipping too fast, we made a mistake, oops, revert it now, and then once we've done that reversion, we just need to get on to the next problem. You know, the live game churn. But it seems here, they were clear-headed enough to actually change their plans to allow for floating houses. Because as reality proves, whenever bugs crop up in housing, people don't seem to mind that much. because they trust the overall vision, they trust the approach,
I'm sure,
and more often than not, those bugs open up cool creative possibilities. I mean, lately, even the class team have kind of felt like that. Changes across the alpha and the beta have been more open than...
Look, and if you want to pull anything positive out of housing, I mean, it at least shows that if Blizzard is given the time and money to make new content, they can make some really good shit still. Like, player housing is really, really good. Whatever it is, from the zones, the textures, the music, it's just so damn good. And I'm not even going to be a player housing guy. I already know that. But I just know that it's really good. I could see it with my own eyes. When I'm in that zone, I'm like, this is really good shit. They did really good shit here.
In the past.
And it's because they were given the time and money to do it.
Feeling. In the past, we've had these real stressful periods of classes barely making it over the finish line. But this time round, there's none of that anxiety. There's some specs that I think will be losers going into this expansion, but it's not like some previous times. So here's my message to Blizzard. Please figure out how these working conditions are working out, what makes them different, and please try to make it happen more, because my god, it's really working. My initial reaction was that this feels like a feature, even in its early access, of a level of polish and just delight.
It's awesome.
That reminds me of old Blizzard.
Yeah.
When Blizzard meant extreme polish and amazing game feel. World of Warcraft has always struggled to feel like.
The craziest thing to me, and you see it real slight in this image here, or this view here, where they bring the painting up to the wall, is the lighting. I feel like anytime you put anything that emits light in the housing shit, it's unbelievable how it changes the room and how the light, bounces off of shit, reflects off of stuff. It's not even like a graphic intensive thing or like this amazing, like 4K shit. It's just the way that it changes everything in the room, the way the light works off of stuff. They did such a good job with it. Look at this painting as he brings it up, how it lights up because the lights are hitting it once you pull it up onto the wall. It's just very well done.
Warcraft has always struggled to feel like that.
And that's just one of many things that they did right.
It's hard to do that in an MMO. This feature is the first time in a long time where modern Blizzard,
I saw the level 6
WoW
reward, Banshee.
Put out a feature
that
reminds me of how I used to think about that company 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Time and money. That's what it takes.
If you want to figure out if your class is being a bit broken, a bit scrambled up going into midnight, well, you can check out our video on every range spec right here. And of course, after that, you can watch the melee one.
Yeah, it reminds them of old Blizzard for a reason. It's because old Blizzard put time and money into things to make really good content. And that's what happened with player housing. And it showed that they're still very much capable of making really good content when they're given time and money and the dev power to do it. And that's what happened with player housing. Can we still have sex with our friends in your house? Yeah, of course you can. Go log into Moonguard and see. They've been doing it without player housing for years, and now it's just going to get that much better for them, for sure. Yeah, nice video though from Bellular.